but they wanted to keep the revenues from their and that's the reason why they said no. Really need to get a different version of that going, to be honest, Mark.
I'm still laughing 3 weeks later.
Well, Ricardo and Piney also got a kick out of it, which was great. So, first of all, thank you very much to you guys for last week and, sticking the boot in whenever and wherever you could. I had a little bit of job insecurity, though, Hyde. I mean, you did a wonderful job last week. Thank
you. I was backed up with a great couple of loan signings.
Loan signings, is that what we're going with? Oh, that's decent. Well done, Ricardo and Piney. You've just been demoted to loan signing. So if you are required by the pod, make sure that you understand it's only on a temporary basis going forward. We will get rid of Hyde to bring one of you in, though. So that's where we're heading with that one. Got a wonderful guest for this pod, haven't we, Hyde?
We do.
So,
a multi-talented man.
Yeah. Kia ora, everybody. Welcome into the Full 90 podcast with Jacob Spoonley and Nick Hyde and Mark Peard on the buttons, which is great. So we've got the full squad here for you today, coming to you live from Eden Park again. And our guest this week, none other than former Forest Hill Milford player, current strength and conditioning coach for the Eastern Suburbs, and the All Whites, which we'll get onto in a minute, but also just a little sport called UFC and some fighter that's got a big fight coming up this weekend.
Sort of small part of the world.
Sunz Singh. Welcome into the pod, mate. Yeah, and so small fights, huh?
Yeah, just a little. Not many people know what UFC is, so it's going to be nothing hardly, watch it. So.
Well, I don't think at the time they're having to get up and fight, mate. I'm not sure where that's going. But Hyde, going back to it, thank you very much for taking the pod forward last week. Did appreciate it. Any sort of comments on Mark's performance last week? Because I heard it wasn't fantastic.
Well, you can say that, but it's like football, it's a team sport. And I thought the combination of the four of us last week really showed what can be done with this team. And
don't listen to him, mate. Don't listen to him. He's trying to get in your head. He knows that the podcast went to whole new heights without him. He's just like trying to get in between us.
I think what he said was it was going forward, and that to me is progress and improvement. So I think as soon as Spoonley's contract either runs out and he goes for a free, or we can transfer him out and get someone else in, we'll be looking good. So there we go.
Well, all I know is that I need a bit of a tan. I need a bit of sun. It's the end of winter, and my complexion ain't looking fantastic. Could we get some lights to help with that, please, Mark?
Mate, get in the sun. Get in the sun. That was good fun last week, actually. There was lots to talk about. We had, obviously, the A-League was turning into chaos, players leaving left, right and centre. Piney came in. He came in nice and hot, explained the situation to us. Ricardo brought some real EPL knowledge and some good bets that we could take away with us into the weekend. It was good fun.
Speaking of coming in hot.
Yes, let's talk about that.
This is bullshit has got to be one of the best quotes we've had so
That's
far.
That's definitely on the highlights reel.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I don't have a big, what do they call it?
Football knowledge,
vernacular, all those things. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, let's make sure that we include you in this particular ducking and weaving. We're going to get onto that in a second.
Bob and weave.
Bob and weave, love it. Shall we get into Kiwis around the ground, Hyde?
Yeah, I think this is going to be the third time lucky for Mark with the headlines. I think the first.
I haven't got much faith.
First one, the scroll went too fast. Second one, it somehow went on repeat after two namings of Kiwis.
Yeah.
This one, I actually emailed Mark and said, this is going to be the third time lucky. This is the shiz. I think it might actually be his last chance, otherwise I might take it back. So here we go.
I'll quite happily hand it back, just FYI. And this is no longer called the headlines. This is just take the piss out of the dude who didn't do well at high school.
Copy and paste, mate. Copy and paste.
All right, let's head around the globe and Kiwis playing abroad. Star Kiwi striker Chris Wood started his Premier League campaign with an early goal in his Burnley side. Well, they went down 4-2 at Leicester. Whilst in the lower leagues, Tommy Smith played the full 90 for Colchester United, who beat Bolton Wanderers 2-0. Let's get in the plane. Let's fly onward. Over to Holland. Both recent pod guests played as PSV's Ryan Thomas plays the full 90 in a 2-1 win over FC Emmen in the top division, whilst Michael Vold keeps a second clean sheet in a row for Almere City's 1-0 win over NEC. That sees them go top of the second division. So we've got one on the top, the first, and one on the top of the second.
Yeah, it's looking good.
It's looking great times. All right, strap on in. We're headed over to Germany, and Sunz Singh has his Nuremberg team draw 1-1 in their opening game in Norway. Joe Bell starts, assists and scores a free kick in the Vikings 5-2 win over bottom placed. Don't like that name.
Go on.
Give it a whirl, Peard.
That's not even a word. Ølsund. And in Denmark, Elijah Just scores for the second game in a row for Helsingør in their 3-0 win to go top of the Danish First Division. Right, I like this one.
Let's jump the pond.
Jump the pond into the United States, and in the MLS, Bill Tuiloma plays the full 90 in the Portland Timbers 6-1 thrashing of San Jose. Elliot Collier starts as his struggling Chicago Fire loses to Orlando 4-1. And in the big news from the week, Michael Boxall becomes the all-time appearance leader in the MLS for Minnesota FC when he starts in their 2-2 draw at Houston.
And welcome to the world, Bo Boxall. Other big news in the Boxall family.
Oh,
yeah.
Weebo.
Congratulations, Libby and Boxy.
Just a quick one too. No games still. No recent games for the transfers Libby Kakachi and Callum McCowart, whilst Winston Reid is once again on the injured list.
Hey, that was superb, Pied. I got to say.
Well done.
Well done, mate.
Well done.
I don't like some of those teams though, mate. Let's talk USC. Nah.
I'm thinking I need to put Woodsy in my fantasy team.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. He's killing it. What is he? Second or third on the all-time goal scorers list for Burnley? So he's getting up there, mate.
Yeah, and I think some reckon he may have scored 4 goals in 4 games now for Burnley. So 4 consecutive games. So I think he's actually broken their record for that as well. So he is generating a lot of interest actually, and his Burnley side may struggle this year. You might be surprised to see around that December-January transfer window possibility of him.
Arsenal were suggested last year, weren't they? But I think that might have been a stalking deer. I think that's the word for it, for interest from other clubs. Little bit worried. Winston Reid injured list. So all Hides versus White Spoons. Chris Wood banging them in. Winston Reid injured. Not boding well for my team there, Hyde.
Your team got no votes at all anyway, so I don't think about that.
We need to get onto that actually. We'll go social media. That's something that needs to be done in that regard. Speaking of persons on buttons, but let's get into it. And we've got a big fight coming up, and it's not really something that we kind of are interested in here on the podcast often, but we do have the wonderful Sunz Singh, former Forest Hill Milford player, Eastern Suburbs strength and conditioning coach, always strength and conditioning coach, which I said at the top. And also the strength and conditioning coach, help me out here, Sunz, if I forget somebody, Blood Diamond.
Yeah.
Kai France.
Yep.
And someone called Izzy.
Somebody called Izzy.
Someone called Izzy.
Just the middleweight world champ.
So take us through it, mate. Who is Izzy going up against? And interestingly enough, when the hell is the fight happening local time?
NZ time, thinking main card should start around 1 p.m. But
when is that? Sunday?
Sunday.
Beautiful.
But we're looking at, I think Israel will be fighting around that 5 a.m. in Dubai. So yeah, I mean, you think about it, getting up at 5 a.m. and rocking out for 1 ounce.
That's stupid, especially against Costa.
Yeah.
You don't want to be getting. No
yeah,
one wants to get out of bed at that
exactly.
shit time anyway.
You know, you're going up against an animal.
Yeah.
Of course, I think they're both animals. In
they
that
don't
respect.
like each other, right?
I guess it's all part of.
Is there some pageantry in there?
Yeah, I think there is a bit of part of the game in the fight game, but I guess with Izzy, he's been the same since he's been fighting in local YMCAs and stuff. So people are not used to that energy of his. So they'll probably be like, oh, he's putting it on. He's trying to be cool. He's always been cool.
Yeah.
So it's not something he's put on now that he hasn't done before. It's just more cameras now.
Yeah.
So more people, more eyes are seeing it.
So is he somebody that's gotten comfortable being himself as he's gone up through the grades, or was he kind of somebody that was always going to have that sort of mentality?
Yeah, so the thing is, he was big with visualization.
Yeah.
He always prepped himself, and he always told us, I'm going to make it in the world. Like when UFC, and we all used to watch Anderson Silva, we used to watch it together. He'll be like, I'll fight him one day.
So he was like, I'll take him.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm sitting at one of my best friend's house, and Izzy comes over, and we're watching the Anderson Silva fight, and he goes, mark my word, I'm going to fight him one day, and I'll be world champ. He flies me over for the Silva fight in Melbourne, and I'm sitting there shook. I'm like, he said this, and he's done it.
And he's here.
So for me, that is, he's always said and followed through with everything he's done.
What was that like? That was that. I mean, I was at home, and he comes out, and he's got like the airbender, style bender. He's got the pre-game dance. He's got the energy, man. I was feeling it at home. Yeah. What was it like being in the building?
Or, you know, the thing is, I didn't even know about the dance, right? I don't think many people knew about the dance.
That was
So
like
I'm-
trade secret, huh?
Yeah. So
Well,
I'm
he wasn't
sitting-
allowed to do it. Like he got
Yeah.
turned down from doing it, so he hit it, and then
Yeah.
they finally agreed to allow him to do it last minute.
And he practiced.
Just like if you got told you could come out and do a dance, we all have one that's that
That's some
good, right?
rock star level stuff, right? Like he's like, last minute, I'm gonna come out. I've got a crew.
Yeah.
He probably smuggled them in, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it."
That's the thing. And the funny thing is, he was practicing the day before the fight. He was practicing the dance.
It's the biggest thing, right? Like he's the most nervous about this. Like the fight's fine. We'll take care of that. I gotta get the dance
we'll
right.
take care of that, but let's make sure that we get the moves right. And this is in the stadium, the actual stadium. He was practicing it, getting it all done.
Hold
so
up. So he's doing a walkthrough and he's practicing the dance. Is that
yeah,
what's
he
going on?
walked through. He did everything to the octagon. He's done everything like 2 or 3 times the night before
Yeah.
the fight.
Did he
And-
stuff it up?
Nah, but
Always.
He's just a perfectionist. So if something's off,
Is he one of those dicks that's like good at everything?
Well, can we not? Can we, let's not call him a dick.
No, we
I
don't.
do.
Nah,
Can-
but you know the
Gosh,
people, like it's a category of person that they're like, this is like.
That's
oh,
your
yeah,
first
that's what he
yellow
does.
card. We do not want to be saying those words about a world champion. Can you put me in the zone that how is someone who's heavily involved in football also involved in the UFC? Because those two games don't go
Totally
hand in hand for me.
Good segue, Mark. Good segue.
So for me, I'm an S&C coach in sports science. That does not have a code attached to it. So if you're smart enough as an S&C coach in sports science, you can apply your knowledge in a practical sense. You'll be able to apply it in multiple codes like I do. So I don't choose to stay onto one code and be a one sort of dimensional trainer. So I can take things from whatever sport I'm training and apply it in the other ones. And there's always crossovers. And then I enjoy putting a lot of the athletes together, especially off season. UFC, they're never in off season. They're always on. So come summer, a lot of the times, some of the all whites boys like the Boxalls and a lot of the A-League boys are off season. So they're all trained together. And then you'll have the UFC boys still training there. And then you've got rugby players. So I just chuck everybody together and they all challenge each other. And then that energy, they vibe off each other and learn. So some of the young ones. So I think 2 years ago, I chucked Tiarify in with Sonny-Bill and Quade Cooper. Because we were working for 12 weeks and he learned about diet and routine and habit because we know Tiarify, what he's like. Especially
He's a relaxed kid, I think.
He's
that's
very relaxed.
fair to say. Let's jump into that, mate. So you had a training group of Quade Cooper, Sonny-Bill Williams, Michael Boxall, Nico Boxall, Emma Kete, I think, was on the periphery at that point.
Jodie Taylor.
Jodie Taylor.
Yeah.
Who else was in there?
All three of the UFC boys, Glory fighter kickboxers. I've got the Sevens girls, Teresa Fitzpatrick, Ruby Tui, Grace, Princess Elliott. So all of them that play in the Sevens. So yeah, there's a lot. I can't actually call all of them now.
That's great. That's great. Let me just find out though. Biggest ego out of all of them. Like, and not being mean, but like,
Yeah.
who's walking? Like, that's a whole lot of alphas in a pen.
You saw Michael Jordan in the Last Dance. He had to be the person who got out and backs done first, and he had to be out the front. So yeah, who's got the person who's the alpha in that group?
And that pen of alphas that none of us would ever dream of being in.
Yeah, that body
So
fat
natural
level's
for me,
quite low.
I'll go with like natural leaders. Like we'll just step up.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
natural leaders. So you got the Sunny, Israel. They'll just step up and do stuff. And how I judge that is based on work. If I come up with a new movement that we want to work on, everyone will back off and be like, oh.
I don't want to make the mistake.
I don't want to make a mistake because they're all such perfectionists at that elite level. So you got these guys who I think are Israel and Sonny-Bill are probably the most incredible athletes purely because their ability to process information so quick and their size, moving at like 6'4" plus.
That's scary, man.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I struggle with my 6 foot. 5 foot.
What was that?
6 foot. But yeah, 5'7".
Swedish rounding going on there.
Heavy rounding. So for me, they natural leaders, big energy, and that's the sort of thing we look for. People stepping up, and hopefully the aspiring athletes around them, and just obviously social media that are seeing it go, okay, so.
You've mentioned obviously a huge amount of very talented athletes here, superstar athletes. What's the worst excuse you've ever heard to not come to training and train with you? Because surely even you must have heard some bedazzling excuses as to why not come. Most of us are just average Joes who might go to the gym, and our personal trainers probably heard some excuses, but you must have heard some doozies over the time.
From the athletes, none. because I'm very select. So I won't just train anybody.
Yeah.
I'll select who I want to train, and I normally meet with them first. And I mean, even if you're Sonny-Bill or whoever.
No, I'm not expecting Sonny-Bill to come next year. I'm expecting who's Joe Public, and you've just gone. I've organised a session. I'm here for you, and you've given me
Eastern Suburbs, for
the
example.
worst excuse of it, and you haven't even been able to argue with them and say they're shit for not coming. You've just gone. I can't believe someone's told me that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I did though. I'm not gonna put the name on it, but I had a client message me about a session, come through, and I was like, yeah, no, cool, we'll do it. And she come through, complained when it got there. I was like, okay, cool, I'll let it be. Schedule the next one for the end of the week, and she come there and obviously complained. So what I did was I took all my cones out and I placed it, put it on the ground, and I laid it out so that it led towards the door. All right, and I got a page and I drew it, and I told her, follow this and never come back. Follow the cones and never come back. Just I'm big, don't waste my time. So I'm just a straight shooter because I drive from near Wellsford.
So let's talk about that for a second. So you're not one for excuses, obviously, because you live out in Wellsford.
Yeah.
I've been up with you messaging on Instagram and whatever at like 12 or 1 a.m. You've got sessions at like 5.
Yeah.
How the hell does that work?
I guess I'm used to it, especially because I'm so invested in all of my athletes that I say I'm a coach, obviously not a trainer.
Yep.
When you're a coach, you're responsible for a lot more than just the physical. So all of my athletes, whether it be all whites or anything, they have 24 access, 24/7. If you want to call me at 2 a.m. because something's wrong, you can call me and I'll pick up, put my headphones on, I'll speak to you, and my alarm will go off in an hour and a half of work, and I get on with it. So I'm just used to responding quick. Although I will be selective if I see it's like, I don't need to respond to you. But obviously the people that I respond to, I obviously cater for them very easily.
You obviously mentioned Sonny-Bill being a huge athlete, and I think there was a big media storm earlier this year when they asked the All Black coaches who was the best athlete, and his name came up. What about our All Whites? Who's in that bunch of All Whites that you've been working with that you would say is, I don't know if on a par with Sonny-Bill was the right word to say it, but who's the leading performer there that you would go, this person is an athlete that could probably play multiple different sports?
And remember that we've done a session together, and I'm a former All White, so you can include me in this group. You
can include him on the bottom of the list. Absolutely. It's like people on this podcast we've ever had.
So the thing is, the Boxall brothers. If I'm looking pure athletic ability, Michael Boxall especially. Oh my word. The boy is strong.
Yeah.
So that one camp when we had with Sonny-Bill and some of the other rugby players, he outsquatted them. So
hold up. Let's pump the brakes there.
Yeah.
Boxy is out squatting Sonny-Bill.
We were doing high box squats,
Yeah.
And he squatted 310.
Shoot.
Boxer's got a box on him, eh?
Yeah.
Is that kilos? Just checking.
And then his brother and him were doing 3 sets of 5 at 300 hip thrust, and the bar was just
bouncing.
Up. Yeah. So no issue there. So these boys. So
what was Sonny-Bill doing? What was he throwing around?
He was watching very close.
Very close.
He gets through some tin. So what was he doing?
So there'll be with certain lifts, obviously with rugby, strong upper body. Footballers, we don't really need that strong of a body.
That's my excuse.
Upper body, exactly. You see. So
I'm on board.
Their bench will be a lot higher, but in terms of deadlift lower body. I think Boxy and them are just really strong as well, and they'll keep up. I think I put it out maybe a month ago that Michael Boxall, Nico Boxall will be probably in the top 5 strength in the All Blacks, and that's purely moving numbers. So everyone obviously judges off the international rolling around on football and thinks every player is like that. So
no.
They forget how strong lower body footballers have, and so I think. From the All Whites, Michael Boxall, Tim Payne, they have high capacities. So if I give the team X amount of work, I can give them a lot more because they can withstand a lot more. So they have big capacities.
That is blowing my mind. Man.
Yeah, I know. It's like you've got a superhero in the soccer world that you're like, yeah, look and
Well,
put him
that
up
too.
against
Yeah,
the-
I'm
that's
happy
a
with
cool
that.
thing.
That's going on.
But I'm interested. Can I revert back? Sorry, we can get back to football, but the whole UFC thing. So you're.
Sorry, I'm going to jump in. This is what I expected to happen. We get the conversation going, and then all of a sudden, someone's eyes
ambush
would
it.
start widening and
Yeah,
widening.
yeah.
So there's a UFC fight coming up on the weekend.
No,
where we got-
it's not even that.
Oh,
So
okay, here we
it's
go.
about the Auckland City kickboxing boys who you obviously working with, and they have just blown up. And I mean, they've been renowned in the smaller tournaments around the world, doing really well in kickboxing and K1 all around the world. Now that the UFC has found them, they are blowing up. I mean, you're dealing with people like Blood Diamond, who did so well in King of the Ring recently.
Yeah.
These fighters that you're working with are now world leaders. Does that affect you and your business now? Do people go, oh, who's their trainer? Are you getting more light from the fact that these athletes are out there doing it on the world stage?
I guess so, yeah. Through that and through a lot of cameras now, based on them blowing up, yes, I'll get a lot more attention from other athletes. But that's as far as it goes. Like nothing changes.
All right, let's jump on it. He's not going to say it. So you're up for UFC Trainer of the Year. Is that
Yes,
correct?
come on. See, look, here we go. You're being humble.
Sunz is very, very humble guy. He gives me so much shit for when I rock up and do the commentary in the sky because he's like, bro, what are you dressed for? And I'm like, I got to put the jacket on, man.
To be honest, I'm often asking you.
But let's get back to it. So you're up for UFC Trainer of the Year, mate. That is
Awesome,
huge.
man.
That is massive.
Yeah, I didn't even know I was nominated until I think I saw a tweet from one of the other reporters, Christopher Reeve.
Yes.
Yes,
Gerald, yep.
So he tweeted something. I was like, oh, what is this early hours of the morning? I read it. I'm like, oh, okay. I put it aside and I carried on. And then I'm like, wait, hold on. Is that the one where Izzy won like Fighter of the Year? So I go back and I check up and I'm like, holy hecker. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. So then,
Screenshot.
yeah, literally, I'm like, in case they take it off, I got evidence I was nominated. That was me.
Well, Christopher Reeve is a big fan of the show and follows the platform, so he'll be stoked to know that he broke the news to you, man.
Yeah, I had no clue. But, after that, I think for me what was more humbling, my community back home in South Africa, in Chatsworth and Durban, they found out about it and they lost the plot.
Yeah.
Because in my neighborhood, if you don't make it out of education or sport, your life expectancy is 40 if you're there. So for them, they like, holy heck, one of our own made it out and on the world stage. So they were just celebrating in the road and everything.
Yeah.
Just for that. For me,
Congratulations, man.
That's
That's
huge.
awesome. Good for you.
So that was good.
Yeah, we're all about bringing to light.
But
the-
Blood Diamond's different, eh? Like, that dude's
he
different,
is,
eh?
How do you...
In a good way, like-
in a good way. Blood Diamond, when you... especially like when the coaches look with Doug and Eugene, when they're cornering him, he throws things and they have to look at each other like, where did that come from? Like, you'd be here, he's punching this way and his legs are kicking.
People will, like, at some stage, the things that Israel has done, Blood Diamond will come out, and people will be like, whoa, because you're so right. It's such an unorthodox style of fighting that you get, where did that come from?
I've just got
He'll be
visions of
throwing-
one of those dolls with the arms and legs that just kind
Oh,
of
by
go.
the car yards, the ones that are doing that.
That's what he does, totally. Yeah, and Kai Kara France, and these guys that you're dealing with right now are world-class athletes that are actually more, like Israel Adesanya, he's better known than the All Blacks worldwide.
And
you're training him.
And the thing is, fun thing is when you put that out, everyone, I think the casuals and the diehard All Black fans couldn't see what he was saying. And so I'm like, well, if I take any All Black and I take them in normal mufti or whatever it is clothes and I put Israel, say, I'm going to go around the world, guess who they're going to know?
100%.
Yeah, it's a bit like, I mean, I totally get it. It's like football for us for years, growing up as football players in New Zealand. To have someone like Chris Wood playing in the Premier League, earning tens of
that's that
hundreds
kid
of
from
thousands.
Cambridge who used to play for Cambridge United.
Well,
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah. So, and yet you compare their salaries to the All Blacks. What we were saying last week, Winston Reid on £60,000 a week. So translated to New Zealand dollars, 120,000 New Zealand dollars a week.
Yeah.
There are no All Blacks even close to that.
And Boxall's still stronger than Sonny-Bill, so...
Exactly, yeah. So we've got that one up. But there was a point in time where Ryan Nelson was earning the same as the All Blacks combined.
Yeah.
And I think often we get really concerned with what's happening in our own backyard. But no one's, and this is the thing I think that we also mistake. When we say Izzy's bigger than the All Blacks, we're not saying the All Blacks are shit or they're lesser.
Just saying, Izzy's
It's like-
huge.
Yeah.
You
No,
kind of
it's-
are.
Izzy, no,
I'm joking.
But
you
it's
can't explain...
massive.
What you're doing, though, is you're trying to explain logic to people who don't don't filter
that's
it. Like
fair.
if anybody listening,
Well, we had
or
the leadership debate last night, so we're in a world of clusterfuck of illogic.
But if anyone is sitting there thinking that story is rubbish or doesn't read through it or can't comprehend it, just don't.
It's not the story
bother
for them,
wasting
is it?
your time.
Yeah.
You just got to move on.
100%. So
I think the other thing is that those guys are still training in Auckland, and it's almost like in New Zealand, apart from the All Blacks, to make it big, you have to be overseas the whole time.
Totally.
Like if you take
And City Kickboxing Gym is shit. Like it is a little tight, hot, windowless.
The funny thing is, when Israel first signed to the UFC, everyone used to ask him, like, so you going to move to the States? Because, everything in the States is glorified.
Yeah.
And they've got blank checks to make gyms look amazing.
Totally.
But if you can't use a few pieces of equipment and create champions, then you're not going to create them with tens of thousands of pieces of equipment.
Can I just walk back the fact that I said City Kickboxing shit? Like, what I meant is the gym is not what you'd expect. When
Yellow
you walk
card.
in.
Yellow card from
I don't want to get in trouble with these dudes, man. Like,
I was just about to say, I love that I train these guys. My friends are amazing. I'm checked.
pretty sure Pied said Izzy's a dick.
No, I did not.
City
would never say that.
Kickboxing is shit.
I would never say
sure.
that.
It's on record.
It's literally, for people who haven't been there, it is a small, like you go in through like a couple of garage, it's just a roll-up garage door. You go up a little set of steps and you look at it, and the room is no bigger than this box.
And you know what the beauty about that is? I think because everyone gives Israel so much of a slack, he needs to be humble, but he got offered a full 5-star Las Vegas fight camp. He chose to sleep in the gym.
Yeah.
His whole
I'm going to
team.
jump in there because you're talking about Izzy being humble. You're humble as well. So I asked you if we could come along and basically you kicked my ass on TV for Sky Sport, and walked in there and I was like, so it would be cool if we can get like someone like Izzy or Blood Diamond on camera. Like, yeah, no, sweet. So turn up at this time. I walk into Les Mills. I'm going to say which one, just to make sure that people don't jump down there. I walked into Les Mills, and these guys are lying in the booths in the cafe having a nap. Yeah. Like, that is next level. Like, I'm all here about the training, man. And you're there, you're ready to go. You gave us like a great session, put on a lot of time for us, and then we managed to get the boys for a quick chat. So, like, they are just straight up like traditional Kiwi, like humble, work hard.
They're coming straight from training. They got like an hour between that session and mine. So they're training minimum 3 times a day for about 6 days a week, 5 days a week. So they just try and nap whenever they can, eat, sleep, continue. So
before you punish them again, before you get up, let's go relax.
My thing is, especially with
get on to that. What are the misconceptions about strength and conditioning?
So I'll touch it, and it goes through all, like football and everything. I'm secondary. My work is secondary. Fight sport, football, field sessions, that's all primary. I've got to make sure I adjust everything so that they never miss their fight or they never miss their football session in the field. If players cannot turn up to the field because of my session, then something's wrong, because I'm there purely to complement. I'm like an accessory, I like that. So, but
you do look good.
Yeah, sunglasses, fresh fade today, exactly. So my thing is, as an SNC, you need to understand your role. You are secondary. You're never primary. And then you are the one that has to be very flexible. The sport-specific training comes first. So, that's it. You got to adjust on the fly based on what coaches say. And if coaches say, they're not going in the gym, they're not going in the gym. You don't argue. There's many ways to skin a cat. You miss a session because of that, then it's easy.
With the you're talking about the crossover between how you can find it.
Welcome to the UFC 90, by the way, with hosted by Mark Pitt, which is great. We're all about the UFC at the moment. Keep going, man. Keep going.
I'll pull his mic. It worked real well last week. With these crossovers, you were saying that some of these sports, that you can do with them all together.
Yeah.
What is something that you could not do that the UFC boys are doing that, say, you couldn't do with the All Whites? Where's a non-crossover thing?
The only time I'll put a footballer in sort of a fight gym would be off-season, or to do a class to stimulate them differently, or potentially in-season. If you've got a bye, then you could go like more for culture with the team in that essence. But everything else in terms of the gym, they all do the same thing. They squat, they deadlift, they lunge. They do all the same movements. Weights, reps, tempos are all adjusted accordingly. And
what about mentally? Are they all wired differently? Like, is a UFC fighter very different to say?
Yeah, they definitely different. I think they're just.
But you've got to be different to do that. Let's be honest.
You
Yeah,
get
like,
into the ring and like going 1-on-1 against
Yeah.
another dude.
I get that, but
Have you had a
ultimately
street fight?
it's an alpha thing.
No,
right?
I have not. Good question. I have not had a street
Anybody
fight.
fought?
Plenty.
Look at this
Yeah,
face.
oh.
Gangster. Nah, jokes.
Yeah,
I haven't
it's-
had any.
I've
Yeah.
actively avoided fighting majority of my life.
You would never
Yeah.
have guessed.
I know.
Look at you.
White boy from the North Shore.
Yeah, I'm one of those too, but I went to Glenford College.
I
so
think
it's a
Hyde
What are
little
you going to
saved me
say?
from a fight
Someone's
on
going to tell
occasion.
me something about a UFC fighter because you're just saying the fact that it's wired differently.
Yeah, I think.
Have I ever had a fight in the streets? I've had punch-ups, but they weren't like I'm going to go one-on-one with you kind of thing. I'm
Yeah,
not
I think
wired
for
that way.
them it's just second nature. They know how to end a situation real quick.
That's scary, eh?
Whereas we take a roundabout way and probably hurt ourselves.
Mm.
Whereas they can de-escalate it from 0 to 100 real quick.
That's a confidence and an experience thing, right?
because
Like it just sits on.
So if
Is it also a respect thing as well?
Yeah.
Like they know that they're a weapon. So
right. So I'm gonna talk football and rondos, and I'm rubbish at rondos. When I used to play, like my thing was to just break someone and pass the ball off because I had nothing under my locker other than fitness. So
Lance Easton style, right? Yeah.
yeah,
There's a
Lance-
throwback
hey,
call. There's a
Lance Easton.
throwback call.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the thing is, with these boys, they do it so often. They're so confident. They know how to handle themselves. But martial arts is discipline. So, like you would avoid fights, and myself, I'll avoid them as much as I can. And even to the point I'm like, yo, just hit me. I need to go home and sleep. They look like, is he crazy? It's like, that's when they're like,
We'll put him in the back of the car. He'll be fine for a couple of hours.
exactly. So, yeah, I think it's with that discipline, side of it, plus the confidence, they know they look at you and be like, why are you wasting your
So I'm
time?
feeling like this is like definitely a carry-on for any sport. So footballers, for instance, when a ball is kicked to an everyday Joe,
Yeah.
they're going to be a little freaked out with a whole lot of people
Right.
running at them. But a pro footballer will know how to kick it away and pass it to the right people. Same
Exactly.
with UFC fighters. When someone's going to punch you in the face, they've done it so many times. So
100%.
it's not the wiring would be kind of similar.
100%, it would be very similar in terms of repeated actions.
Right.
Repeated actions of every situation, but I guess as a sport, if you know you're going to go and punch someone, then
That's where the wire's a little
So
different.
I always
Yeah.
struggle with this because I was always like, I went to one of the fights at the North Shore Event Centre way back when it first kind of came out, and I was watching it, and I thought, I don't know how these guys do it. They play the music and hype themselves up, but for me, even if I've got in the ring, I think I need to get smacked in the face first before I can get angry to actually hit someone back. I don't think I've got that. I mean, football is different. I get white line
You
fever
can't go
easily.
from zero.
But like, I couldn't just walk up and say, "Oh, there's Mark. I'm gonna freaking kill you." I just don't have that. Once you punch,
If we were in a fight,
once
can you
punch
never
me,
say that?
Once
Like,
you punch me in the
frickin' kill
once
you.
you punch me in the face, then I might get angry and
Yeah,
actually
true.
take you on. But up until then, I'm like, why would I want to hurt this guy? Like,
That's where
he's
that wiring's
He's
different,
done
right?
nothing wrong to me. Like,
Yeah.
whereas these guys come out and they're like,
100%.
they're
For
like,
me, I think I think that best training camp in terms of mixing athletes, because the UFC, I generally will keep them separate because they have such a tight schedule. It's like midday when they do it. But I think it was Sonny-Bill, Quaid, Nico, Boxall, Michael Boxall. I think Moses Dyer was there, Tiadafai. But just the big four, the Boxalls, Quaid, and Sonny, they're such good friends. The competition at training is so good. Like, I think I got a race on my Instagram with Quaid, Boxy, and Sonny, and they all were within like millimeters. And now you're talking about, well, Sonny is 112 kgs, right? How is
That's
he
a lot of human.
How is he moving that fast, right? Quaid is floating in the 90s, very similar to Boxy, right? So that just everything, like they finished. It was Nico and Michael Boxall, just brothers having a race. And then Sonny and Quaid saw that and they're like, nah, we coming. And obviously the Boxies
love that.
they had their shirt off, so the both rugby boys go, okay, well, we'll take our shirts off too. And so yeah, such good, I think, friendship as well. Because that's like me, like if I train someone, we have to be friends first. If we can't be friends, I can't train you.
Yeah.
Because again, I need to know everything about you. Then I know how to communicate with you. Interpersonal skills are very important in terms of coaching. And that goes from football as a head coach as well, versus including myself as an S&C.
So we've talked kind of what footballers have got from being part of your training group and getting aspects from other codes. What do you think the boys from the other codes have got from the footballers? Like, is there like an appreciation for what the football boys do? Because I often go into situations and it always amazes me that people are like, I know this guy. Like, you played against Ireland or you played against Belgium, surely, man. Like, you got to get Kevin De Bruyne. For me, like, it amazes me that happens as a reciprocation for what the respect that footballers have for other people and other codes.
I think in terms of just my field, and I'm obviously in the training sector side of things, it's always, oh my word, it's these footballers, the fit ones.
Oh yeah,
the fit ones, because they by far the fittest.
Like Heidi.
100%.
I was 16.5 in the big test in my day.
I don't even remember what that.
Yeah, that's high
that
for
test
big.
out of my memory.
Well
Yeah.
done.
And
well done.
And I pulled out because we had a game that afternoon.
Good for you.
Oh wow, there you go. But yeah, so footballers are known to be the fittest.
You keep that up, mate.
Yeah.
You-
Thanks.
Well done.
Well, to be honest, I had enough put down some spelling. I just wanted to give myself a bit of a big up.
Thank you.
I'm glad you haven't sarcastically, helped me out there, mate.
No,
It's
no,
been good.
Good for you.
Good for you.
I think when I was with Mags, the netball girls, I made them train with the football team, and that's was their first thing. They were like, "Oh man, we have to go train with the fit ones." So they know footballers are very fit in terms of the distance they'll cover, etc. And they go, "Oh, the ones that just don't stop running."
I'm so glad that there are a couple of footballers in the room, because is that something, when you're Adam and Eve and you're talking about men and evolution, is fitness the one you want?
Yeah, look, I tell you what, I think the only reason I went pro in Brunei is I was, like you, I was the guy that did all the running and tackling to give it to the Brazilians and Nigerians.
Right.
So they had me in the team. They called me the grass cutter because I would run over every piece of grass, winning the ball back. And that's basically what football is.
I remember-
We're seen as, and certainly people who played my
You
position.
can make
So-
a profession out of that, right?
You can.
Like, there are some players that
Yeah.
average, but they will just run through all.
And if you look now at football and how it's changed, we'd say fullbacks are probably the most attacking weapons in the game, and they are running 80 metres to get forward
Yeah,
with
that's
or without
like
the ball.
Tim Payne.
Let's jump on that. So, what were the numbers from Ireland? Because we might have a game against Belgium, we might have a game against Mexico. We're not sure at the moment, so we'll get some new stats. But take us through the numbers against Ireland. So, what do these boys cover?
So fullbacks will cover anywhere from 11.5K above, depending on the game, obviously. Your midfielders will be similar. Some of them, depending on the role, like the 8s will go 12 plus.
So, an 8 is a Ryan Thomas or
Yeah. So they'll cover a lot of distance. But then it comes down to each game and how it's set up. But in terms of speed, you're talking about your fullbacks being fast. I remember at Eastern Suburbs, Tim clocked at 36 kilometer an hour in the game.
How do you track that?
GPS.
So the bra
Yeah,
thingies that
in the
you
back,
see.
very manly looking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
holds your posture great.
Nice.
Not really, but yeah.
So,
But yeah, so
36
he's
Ks.
36
I'd have done
kilometers.
that if I'd grabbed the other player's shirt. And
Yeah.
that would have dragged me
His
along.
And then-
acceleration is good. Because normally I'd get Tim Payne in the off season. He'd train with my sprinters, and he used to, in his younger days in school, used to do sprinting with some of New Zealand hurdlers like.
He's one of the more gifted athletes that I've come
very-
across.
Tim Payne's very and Adam Thomas. Yeah,
Adam Thomas.
Oh.
Here's a name that the football community needs to get around,
Oh
because
my life.
that kid's been held back through injury.
Yeah, so
He is, I think,
This is
flirting
what I
with
got
a
told.
professional contract somewhere.
yeah,
Don't know
I
where
got
that's gonna
told
be.
when I spoke, obviously Cam Howson, Dan Morgan, Nico Boxall, they were like, man, we used to look up to that guy in the 2012 Olympics he went to.
Well, he was playing in Auckland City's first team at the age
Yeah.
of like 17. Yeah.
And they were like, he was our country's best player, and then 6 years out.
Yeah. What can you do, man? Right? Like, so he was playing right back in a team with Ryan Nelson, Tommy Smith, Winston Reid. Like,
And there's a photo, I think, from the Olympics with him defending Neymar and Marcelo. That was on his wing, so you got that. So, he's one of the other ones that I remember at school. He ran a sub-11 100 meter, so he was in the 10 seconds. But his capacity as well, fitness, he'd clock at 13K in a game, no problem.
10 seconds for 100 meters. Wow.
He's so in that sub-11 bracket. So he's another one that's very good. Do a lot of work sometimes with my sprinters because the game has evolved a lot faster, and attacking players like that I think are weapons, and well, they're technically very good. Again, not like me. If you at Forest Hill, everyone like Sheldon Pillay used to always make sure he's on my team or Lance Easton's team because he knew someone was getting broken.
That was something, by the way. Sonny-Bill Williams, Paul Rhodes, Ryan DeFries, Lance Easton, Grant Young, Byron Paulson.
That
was a hell of
Carl
a team.
Franks, everyone was there. So all of us used to play at Unimount under Leaderwood. And then we all got, in 2000, this was 2000.
RIP, hey Heidi.
Yeah, so 2001 we were all there, and then 2008 Lee Root went to Forest Hill, and the South Africans pulled in there. We part ship.
All right, let's head to the awards then. Since we've got an award,
Absolutely.
but not a nominee.
A nominee?
No, I'm going to cover these awards. So you're about to talk about the New Zealand Football Awards.
Yeah, Sunz, you can abstain from this if you
So
want.
one of the things that's interesting that the New Zealand Football have taken this out to the public. I don't know whether this is because they're not actually holding a function this year, which is something they usually do because of COVID. But I wanted to raise the very intriguing question as that now that the public are going to vote, whether these awards will actually go to the right people. Because has anyone ever heard of Rory Fitzpatrick?
No.
Right.
No.
So this is a guy who played NHL for the Vancouver Canucks, 10-year talisman veteran, scored 9 goals in his entire 10 years,
That's almost a goal a season.
but also made the 1992 All-Star game. How? Because it went out to the public. And everyone got on board and went, hey, let's vote this guy in.
Oh, so he was a cold hero.
There's an angle here.
Absolutely.
There's an angle
So I
here.
followed this up. And did you know that Taylor Swift also did I'm going to do a poll in the high school with the most votes I'm going to go and sing at, and everyone got on board and voted for a deaf school.
Oh, well, so what are you talking about?
So they're going to hijack. This could get hijacked. And what I'm looking at is the fact that I think one of the other ones was great. Pitbull was going to go perform at a Walmart, so they chose one in Alaska out in the middle of nowhere to send them to, which is brilliant. And then, of course, the best one is the British trying to name their polar Arctic exploring boat, which now became named Boaty McBoatface, as the public hijacked the poll once again.
I think it's supposed to be the Sir David Attenborough, right? And I think the tug is now Boaty McBoatface that sits on the back of it. But yes,
so there you
there's
go.
an
So
angle
I'm looking
here.
at these saying if this is a purely public vote, we could get absolute chaos.
All right. Okay, I see
hear
what
ya.
you're doing here.
I hear ya.
I see what you're doing here.
So
So,
let's take the first one.
okay, so Chris Wood should win that straight away, yeah?
Well, let's go through.
Unless friends of the podcast get on board Michael Boxall with the greatest squats we've ever seen.
Minnesota United captain Michael Boxall.
All-time greatest appearance holder.
Love it. Yep. Woodsy, what did he do last year? Only scored a couple of goals.
He tripped over himself 14 times.
Yeah,
Sarpreet will start winning that award.
Who?
Sarpreet Singh will win that award a lot. Like he'll be 10 at least. He'll get 10 or 15 in his career, yeah.
Oh,
But not this
You'd
year.
hope so. You'd hope so.
But it won't
So
be this year.
No,
Nuremberg.
in honesty, Woodsy wins this, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got to. Yeah. But, the pod might vote for Boxall. I don't know.
Yeah.
We could go there. We could go there.
We had a waiver before when Mark kind of trashed all the UFC fighters, but just a waiver to you, Mike Boxall. I'll be voting for you. There you go. So
Yeah,
that's-
absolutely.
yeah,
So what do we got
fair
next? So that's the
Men. Yeah, woman.
International Player of the Year
International
men's is going to either Michael Boxall, Chris Wood, or Sarpreet Singh. So congratulations to all of those lads. Let's talk about the lasses. So we've got Erin Naylor,
Yep.
Football Ferns in Bordeaux. I love how they put the Football Ferns in there.
Well, it is international player, so you've got to be playing
So-
for our international team.
Well, do you?
Well, because Abby Usyck's missing, and surely she's the best player.
Well, who's the youngster from the Olay Academy that's recently gone to join Germany? Maya Han? Is that the one?
She's not in New
No,
Zealand.
that's wrong.
If she's playing for Germany, she can't win the New Zealand Football Award.
Well, it's
mate.
New Zealand's
It's one of
football-
those criteria.
I'm just laughing then. Why have they put the Football Ferns up in there? Why don't you have the clubs? Like, it doesn't make sense because
Well,
it's got to be for
They're
us.
saying that you had to play an international match. It's
The
interna-
player
it's-
must represent a senior New Zealand football national team during the calendar year to be eligible.
There you go. See.
You know that piece of information that you said, no, that's shit, I don't need that, and I cut it off? That's what that said.
The week before I did the draft, and you tried to claim you knew everything that was going on. Yeah.
All right, domestic player of the... Oh, are you guys going to pick a
Erin
winner?
Naylor, Naylor, Rhea Percival, or Rebecca Stott. I'm going Stotty.
So am I on
'cause,
that. Melbourne City won the Women's A-League, and she's playing currently
For Brighton.
Brighton and in the Women's... Yeah.
Domestic player of the year.
Nick Hyde. What? No. The Bazzers. The Bazzers aren't nominated. They don't
Go.
qualify. For the men's, Heidi, take us through it.
You've got Derek Tiku from Hamilton Wanderers, who scored a hatful of goals. You've got Maya Bevan from Auckland City, who scored even more
Friend
goals.
of the pod.
And you've got Jack Henry Sinclair, who is probably one of the more talented players floating around New Zealand and must be knocking on the door for the Wellington Phoenix.
And the winner is...
Look, goals usually get this. I'd say Bevan would be looking pretty good, but it wouldn't surprise me if Henry Sinclair snapped this one up.
Actually, to be fair, and I got corrected on air, it's not Henry Sinclair. It's Sinclair. The apostrophe, no, the hyphen is between
Did he just
Jack
say that
and
exactly
Henry.
the same?
So it's not Henry Sinclair. That's not his last
Jack
name.
Henry
It's
Sinclair.
Jack Henry and then
Yep.
Sinclair.
So if you say his name is Jack Henry Sinclair,
You didn't say Jack. Sorry, you said Henry Sinclair, which is what I said on air.
Oh my God.
Got corrected.
everyone loves,
Just a fun fact. Just a fun fact for everybody.
Women's
Everyone
Just a fun
domestic
fact
player
for
of the year.
everybody.
everyone loves to correct it, don't they?
Oh, Hyde, you've got one on this though, to be fair, and I agree with you.
Okay, so the woman here, domestic player of the year, we got Stephanie Skilton from Auckland Football, Emma Ralston from Capital Football, and Chloe Knott from Northern Lights.
Forrester Milford.
How the hell is no one from the Canterbury Pride? The team actually won. the
What do they do?
competition.
What do they do, mate?
Back-to-back winners. I think they won it 4 of the last 5 years, and they don't have a single player in the
That's a bit of that's shunning them a little bit, isn't it? I agree with that. That's definitely
the winner
something in
is?
consideration. I'm going Chloe Knott, Northern Lights.
Chloe Knott.
Well, they made the final, so you'd say that's.
That's, and she's Forrester Milford, so that's another.
I think she's captain of the team.
massive.
Alan Wynne Jones. People used to call him, people in New Zealand,
Wynne
when
Jones?
they were calling him Wynne Jones, Alan Wynne Jones.
Jack
It's
Henry
Alan Wynne
Sinclair. Yeah.
Jones.
Good point. Okay, it happens to everybody, even the best of us.
Futsal player of the year.
What's futsal, Mark?
It's that game where you play it inside. I know
There
that
you
much.
go.
It's inside football.
There you go.
Is this? I mean, I know this is a push from New Zealand football, but is this really? Will beach football be next with this?
All right, young player of the year.
Thanks. Took my cue there, Mark. Well done.
Yep.
I love the way you're on the buttons.
There we go.
All right.
Men.
So from a previous winner of the Young Player of the Year, I think I'll take us through this one.
Were you?
Yes, 2007. Get amongst it.
Did they have awards back then?
Don't start.
Did they?
It was post, was it the Millennium Bug or whatever that was? Yeah,
Oh,
so we could
really?
record it on computers. We were all good. Yeah, so this is a pretty stacked category as well, and Sarpreet Singh finds himself in this group as well as the Men's International Player of the Year. But he's got company: Joe Bell and Libby Kakache. Sunz, you can take a stab in the dark here, mate. We've kind of let you away from the
That's a great category
the All
for you to
Whites
come
because
in.
we don't create tension in the dressing room.
Potential clients here for you, just
Exactly.
looking over them. Probably trained all of them.
How is he not?
What is
gonna choose
Sarpreet Singh
If-
benching, by the
if
way?
If it was Joe Bell, Sarpreet Hyde, and Roger Kakachi, I'm choosing Hyde.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go with anything to do with Sarpreet
There you
Singh.
go. See, it was a no-brainer.
Surname, I'm gonna claim him as my cousin.
Exactly.
He's from South Africa as well. Interesting.
Let's go with that.
Of course, yeah. Let's roll with it. Yeah.
Same
Sing it
surname.
is.
There you go.
Thing it is.
Long lost brother.
Let's see, test your knowledge. Woman in the Young Player Awards.
There's not even start. That's Kelly Brown.
Kelly
Done.
Brown.
Kelly Brown.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod,
Came on,
done.
I think pod 3 she was on.
Pod 3.
Absolute
Absolute.
star. Get on that. Let's hijack this.
Yeah,
Get
Kelly Brown.
Award.
Kelly Brown done.
Coach of the Year.
Des
Men.
Buckingham, hands down.
Des Buckingham, Jose Figuera, or Scott Wells. So
Oh, Hales. Why is
Yeah.
it? So Scott Hales here.
that's not a W. Yeah, Hales. Sorry,
You could-
Scott.
could
My
his
bad.
name.
Yeah, friend of the pod as well. Gets in on the social media and provides contribution. My bad, mate. My bad. It's hard to go past Des. And they recently joined Melbourne City coach. Yeah.
Big loss in New Zealand football.
Yeah, massive. So I think Des takes that one, particularly if the public are going to vote for it.
Women. The Coach of the Year. Women. Gemma Lewis.
Natalie Lawrence.
I don't know
or
any of these
Elena
people.
Gunn.
Well, the
Tell me why I should vote for one.
Oh, there's
who?
one very clear one that I'm voting for in
Who's
my
that?
mind. Elena Gunn
And what has she done to deserve your vote?
of the Canterbury Pride. Hyde, roll through the credits again.
I just did that before.
That's what I meant. So you
People
know,
would have heard that.
they would have heard
They'll be
that.
on
For the last 5 national leagues, won them back to back. She's done a wonderful job with the Canterbury Pride.
All right.
I back that. Yep, all good.
Futsal coach. Okay. Team of the Year.
Sorry,
We've lost our
guys.
entire. We've lost our entire.
Audience
football
is
listening.
gone. Team of the Year. New Zealand under 23 men, New Zealand under 20 men, and Canterbury United Pride. It's unfortunate. The New Zealand under 23 men could have, at this point, they could have been at the Olympics, couldn't they? Yeah, so that's a real shame. COVID-19 has ruined 2020 for everyone. I reckon under 20 men, the way they played. Was
Yeah, they were.
phenomenal.
That was the when we talked to Michael Veld about that penalty shootout where they got shafted. And to be honest, if they had got past Colombia in that match, who knows what could have happened? And
Could cause
they
chaos.
were probably the most exciting New Zealand football team to actually play in an event for a very, very long time. Stacked full of talent. Yeah, easy.
Cool. Let's
Superb.
jump over the futsal team of the year and head to player of the year because that's an interesting one for mine. Chris Wood, Sarpreet Singh, and Abby Urzik. Is that how you say it? Urzik?
Exactly,
Yeah.
yep. Oh, this is a toughie.
This is a toughie.
So Abby Erceg, we've talked about Sarpreet Singh and Chris Wood, but Abby Erceg has been the captain. She's the captain of the Football Ferns. She's been part of this wonderful North Carolina Courage team that has basically destroyed most that have come before them. So what are your thoughts here, Hyde?
Yeah, look,
passing the buck.
Okay, you have passed the buck nicely there. So I look at it and go, you can eliminate Sarpreet because he's, as much as he's got a great transfer, he still hasn't made his name in world football as such.
He's probably going to win another award as well, isn't he?
Yeah, so Woodsy there sits there, 14 goals in the Premier League, absolute superstar of the game. However, if I kind of compare that to the women's game, if you were to pick a World 11 or a team from a World Cup,
here we go.
Abby Erceg would have to be in probably the top 3 or 4 defenders in the world.
There you go.
And so I wouldn't be able to say Woodsy is in the top 3 or 4 strikers in the world, and therefore I would actually say Player of the Year. North Carolina Courage won the American League, which is it's the powerhouse of
in
world
WSL. Yeah, that's correct.
Powerhouse of world football, playing alongside those US women's team players. Maybe a contentious decision, but there you go.
Future friend of the pod as well, Hyde, by the way.
Really?
So, yeah, absolutely.
I feel it's very woke of me to go that way.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Sons, ignore that. That's fine, mate. So that kind of wraps everything up for this podcast. I've got to say, mate, I don't know how much football we talked. It's all been a bit of a blur, but it's been bloody wonderful, as JC would say.
I'm not sure Mark talked any football.
Yeah.
That was exciting. That was a lot of fun.
It was phenomenal. Look, mate, we'll get you back on at some point because I want to chat through what you'd like to see from a preseason, because I'm sure that there are a lot of coaches out there that would love to add to their toolkit and have someone like you giving them a bit of feedback about what to do. So we'll get on there. Also, Hyde and I, we could do a preseason. We need to get involved in that. Hyde's looking at me like,
He's got to like you, remember? He said he needs to have...
Well, I need... Okay, so I'll reframe that. I'll do a preseason. I'll do a preseason.
The reason you've known him for a number of years and haven't worked out with him is he said you had to be friends first.
Yeah.
I'm going.